Hey guys, we are live. It's Ted Bogert with the Ted Show. Yes, many of you commented I'm doing a very late show for me, but it's an early show for my amazing guest. Dino Pacella is coming all the way from Australia to be with us. So it's 8 in the morning there, 6 o'clock here, and he has been kind enough to get up early and be on the Ted Show. Thank you, Dino. I'm honored to have you on the show.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure, Ted. Great to be here. And yeah, I'm a day in advance. So it's like
You are
going back to the future.
People, you are going back to the future. People were like, Ted, are you all right? Why are you doing a 6 o'clock show? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. You know, we're expanding our territory. I did a show with someone in India last week. And so we are just trying to get as many wonderful people like you. I want my audience to see all the cool things that you're doing. I love this topic. I think it's so important. People remembering you, so they want to be around you. But you're also big about collaboration and building networks and engaging. So enough about me talking about you. Tell us a little bit about you, Dino.
Yeah, so Ted, I'm a business development manager. I'm a salesperson. I'm a networker. So I love getting to know what people are doing. And I think that's where all my online branding comes from. It's all about what are people doing? How can we learn something from somebody else? But big in the finance industry with finance brokers and working with them. So I have a passion on what they do and how they help their clients move into properties and create homes. So I love that. Obviously love social media, love video marketing, content creation, and everything that goes with that, Ted. So, and doing these wonderful shows with people like yourself is fun and very engaging and informative. So,
well, I mean, I would imagine with that voice and that accent, people would buy anything from you, Dino.
I haven't heard that about
the most respectful way. So tell us what you wanted to be when you were growing up, though. Give us a little background on you. Obviously, we're both in social media and do a lot of that here, but I'm sure that wasn't our first thought when we were growing up.
No, actually, I was big into football, or soccer as it's known in the US. So I wanted to be a professional soccer player. I did trials in Italy for months on end when I was 16, 17 at that prime time in your life. Obviously, didn't work out because I didn't make it a living. But I got to enjoy it back home in Australia and play it at a semi-professional level. So I really enjoyed that. Outside of that, from school, I sort of fell into finance and banking through a friend of my parents, as sometimes that is the case when you're 17. And ever since I've grown, as I said previously, I've grown a deep passion for that industry and for what I'm doing across it. And that's been over the last 26 years now.
Wow. So tell me, I'm fascinated by the transition because finance and banking is sort of my background as well. I'm really bad at it, so I'm not as good as I feel like I am social media. So, but it's rare, I think, a lot of times for people with our background who have that finance mind, that math mind, to go into business development, to really network with people and build up the engagements and the collaboration that you talk about. So you said you kind of fell into the finance and banking. How did you move? How did you shift? What was the impetus for you shifting a lot of your focus to your social media?
A lot of it, Ted, came from when I moved into the business development position. So I wasn't always in that role. I was in direct banking, so in the branch, in the store network. And then through my previous boss, who had a position opening, and that was about 7-8 years ago, he said, Dino, come and have a coffee, let's have a chat. And I knew of him within the organization, but I didn't exactly know what they did. So after talking a little bit, it was basically a relationship business, going out and providing the product and solutions to brokers where they can on-sell it to their clients. And I thought, oh, that sounds pretty good. I can go out and have some coffees and have some lunches, Ted, beautiful steak lunches.
Absolutely.
Obviously a lot more to it, but I love the relationship side and meeting people, building that rapport with them, learning what they do and how you can actually help somebody's business grow. And I think that's that true value of wanting people to be around you. Yes, they need to like who you are, but I think when you provide those values and find solutions for problems within their business where somebody else may not have that ability to do so, I love
Right.
doing that. And I think that's where that business development aspect comes into it.
Where did you? Well, it's one thing to be a business development person. I understand that because I do it. It's another thing to really build. You walk the walk and talk the talk. You talk about building, engaging in collaboration, but you're doing it on such a large scale. So it's one thing to do it person to person, have drinks, have coffee, have lunches, but you really have figured out a way to engage in an impactful, meaningful way via social media. So how did that come about? Because I think a lot of people, I had people go, "Wow, he's got a lot of followers." You know, people will reach out when I do these posts. People will say, "Oh, he must really know the secret sauce on how to connect and engage on social media." Can you talk a little bit about the journey there, and then we can talk about some points. I've got some questions from the audience for you.
Okay, no problems. Bit about my journey and how I did that. So I'll try and keep this as short as possible for everyone listening, Ted, so I don't drag on. But it was when I first went into the business development role. So 8 years ago, I went into that position, and I wasn't across social media at that time. Okay, so particularly across LinkedIn, and definitely not across any other platforms. And a colleague from the organization said, "Oh, I want to connect with you on social media, but I can't find you." And I said, "Well, because I'm not on it." He goes, "You're not even on LinkedIn." He goes, "That's a bit crazy." And I went, "Oh, is it? Why?" And I said, "I don't need to be." I said, "I do enough." He goes, "Well, don't you want to showcase what you do?" And I went, "Yeah, of course I want to showcase what I do and tell more people and get more business for the company and do all of that." He goes, "Well, you need to be on LinkedIn and you need to tell people what you're doing." And I went, "Oh, okay." So I went home and I looked up LinkedIn and read about some articles and what personal branding is all about. And I must have got onto the wrong articles and got the wrong advice, because all I thought personal branding was about, Ted, was about, hey, it's all about me. I'm going to put the light on me, Ted. I'm going to tell people how good I am.
Yeah.
And I did that for a while. And then it wasn't until a few colleagues, a few people that I hadn't known that were watching my content said, "You're coming across a little bit arrogant." And I went, "Oh, no, I'm not." "What do you mean?" And I looked back on the stuff and I went, "Oh, shit, Ted, they're right. They're right. I've got to change this."
You got to have those friends, don't you? Those are the good friends.
But they weren't friends at the time. They were friends. They're friends now, but they were people who were showcasing me in workshops of what not to do on social media. And they told me that, and they showed me some of the things, but they're great friends of mine now, I can tell you that. So it was all about, how do I change that persona, that perception of who I am? And then I started turning it around, and I thought, well, maybe I need to concentrate on adding value, and as we talk about that authenticity, that rawness, all of that. But more so, how do I share that with people, with taking the spotlight off me and trying to shine it on people around me and making people feel important. So it's not that what's in it for me factor anymore. And once I did that, that perception changed, people started reaching out, and it became a lot more of a warm circle of what I was doing, rather than, hey, look at me now. So that's a little bit how I changed it. And I'm so glad I got that feedback. And I'd encourage people, if you're not sure where your brand sits, message a few people. They don't need to be friends, because you don't want your friends to say, "Oh, we love you, here's a pat on the back."
So true.
Yeah. Just reach out, and if there's somebody that has liked a couple, just send them a message and go, "Hey, do you mind just giving me a little bit of thoughts, what your assumption is of me, without me speaking to you first?" And get that, and ask them to be as honest as possible and see what comes back, and maybe do that 3 or 4 times with different people. And it might just open your eyes when it comes to building networks and building your own brand. That's
such great advice. I try, especially on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's the platform I'm learning the most about. And I reach out. I reach out to people and say, "Hey, this didn't get the amount of exposure that I thought it would for the guests," because I'm trying to get as much exposure for my guests. That's really where my push is. And people say, "Well, you should have promoted this way." I mean, I love the feedback, because there are things that I still don't know, and I've been doing it for a couple of years. And if you're just going to sit stuck in the same place, and do the same thing over and over again and go, oh my God, I can't figure out this social media thing, then you're missing the boat. But I think a lot of people don't have that epiphany like you did. Maybe I need to shift the focus, but that's powerful advice, in my opinion. I think that that's where you begin to take your business, your branding, your relationships to a different level when you take the focus off you. Now, it sounds easier when we're saying it. So how did you make the shift? Because you're focused on saying how amazing Dino is or how amazing Ted is. Now, what did you do to shift it so that it was where you were exposing and you were really shining and showcasing the people that you had relationships with?
Yeah, I wanted to showcase a little bit more about who I was, not around who Dino, the finance corporate employee, was. And I thought, how do I do that? And again, use the people around you. So this is where your friends come into play, where you can go, hey, listen, I want to post this content around a little bit about my journey on what's taken me from A to B to Z, and say, are you okay with this? What would you think if I posted this content up? And they may be content around if you've had a life failure. So I've shared before, I'm divorced, Ted. I've shared that journey on what that looks like. I've had business failures. I've shared a little bit about those journeys.
Sure.
I've shared about journeys with my children going on social media, what that looks like. And they're going, yeah, that would be fine. Isn't that what it's all about? And then I did that and I went, yeah, people understand who I am. So when you are out at events, that networking, I think, becomes a little bit easier because you're just giving people, and not everybody is watching you and part of your community, but you give people that opportunity to come up and go, hey, I saw that really resonated with me. And all of a sudden you've got a conversation and potentially a new relationship with somebody. And that's how I started doing it. And it is. And I think that's the beauty of branding online is, yes, we get to do this with you, Ted, at this current time, but if you were down the road from me, we'd be able to catch up for lunch and meet face to face. And that's the beauty of these platforms.
I love what you said about how when you make the connection, when you are out there and you're putting yourself out, that it resonates with people. You think, I always tell people are paying attention. It may not be the people you think are paying attention, but people are paying attention. And I'll have people come up and say, I loved what Dino shared on your show. That really meant something to me, or that really touched me, or wow, that was a great idea. People are watching video, and yet sometimes it's like getting people kicking and screaming to come to the video world. I mean, obviously this is about 4 hours worth of makeup. No, it's not. But you have to kind of figure out your lighting. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying if you haven't done it, there's no wrong way to do it. Just take the dive. But I encourage people not to say what they think other people want to hear, but much more along the lines of what you said. Tell them more about you. Share what you feel comfortable with. That authenticity goes goes many, many miles more than just putting out the basic old picture or, hey, look, I was top 5 in the company this month for the 3rd month in a row. And that's the only social media that you're putting out there. So right. I love what you're doing. So let's talk about true engagement, really wanting people to, when you connect with people, how you get them to want to be around you.
Sure. I think that one's an easy one, and I hate saying this again. I feel like a broken record sometimes, Ted, but it's all around how do you make somebody feel important and how do you provide value to them? And I'm not saying if you've written a book that you're giving a free book away. I'm talking about how do you add some value with somebody, particularly around these challenging times that we're experiencing, is can I add value where somebody may be finding it difficult to get motivated throughout a day, but sees a content from you that you've created and you put online that was either that morning, the day before, 2 days before, that all of a sudden gets them shifting their mindset to go, oh, okay, I'm a little bit down, but I read that and, oh, okay, I can see the benefit of me getting changed and turning up and doing whatever I need to do, creating content, making that phone call. And if you can do that and you give people then the opportunity to potentially reach out to you or become part of your community and say, hey, I enjoy doing that, then it's engaging and responding back. And again, that is easier said than done, Ted, when sometimes you get 100 messages a day. But yeah. I think if you can put in that time and effort to respond to people, you're not just growing a follower base, because I really dislike that word follower.
Me too.
You want to create that community. And yes, that's all sunshine and rainbow type of stuff, but it's true. And I'm doing it now. Like, people will know off the LinkedIn platform in particular, when people send you an invitation request, you can only accept up to 30,000 of them. And then people need to follow you to become part of your community. Even when I'm getting invitation requests now, I'll still go through them every morning and send them a note saying, I can't accept, but would you like to follow? I'm happy to follow you back. So build a community that way. And it just gives people the sense to go, okay, well, you're not just in it for playing the numbers game. You actually want it to help people, showcase your value and learn off other people as well. So that's why I want to build a community, because I want to learn, and I want to learn daily. And when I'm scrolling through feeds and I'm following the right people, then they're putting out that content that's giving me value and it's making me feel important. So it's always that two-way street. But that engagement piece is just simply around making people feel important. And I said it on a previous live, Ted, that if you walk around or you're scrolling through or engaging with somebody, if you imagine they had a stamp on their forehead that says, please make me feel important, and you tackle that in the way that you engage with them, then you'll never go wrong.
I love that. I think people get caught up in, they have to make it the perfect engagement. So they get so hung up on the words that they're going to say or the words they're going to write. And sometimes that engagement is as simple as checking in on somebody. Hey, I saw your post last week. How are you feeling? Or I saw you celebrated your anniversary. Happy anniversary. I mean, the engagement, guys, doesn't have to be this Albert Einstein wrote the theory of relativity down. And, you don't have to be like that. And I think people overthink it, and therefore they overthink themselves right out of making that engagement and that collaboration.
Correct. Well said. And you don't need to have that purpose around what am I going to get out when I want to engage with that person. You'd be surprised if you just engage in the sense that I'll write to you, Ted, next week and go, hey, I'm catching a few of the shows, really enjoyed this person. And that's it. You don't need to follow it up with 2 hours later. And by the way, Ted, have you heard about my Bitcoin?
Yes. Oh my God, my favorite, right? So LinkedIn's famous for this. I love you, LinkedIn, but a lot of the contacts that I'm getting now, I'm getting a lot, right? So as you do more, people see it. And whenever somebody starts off with that, I'm like, come on, this is just, I want to engage with you. Tell me more about you. So if I push back and they're willing to engage with me, I'm golden. If I push back and all they want to do me is send me their thing to watch time and time again and have no real rapport, then that's not the kind of connection that I'm trying to bring into my world or bring into the sphere. Because these people could have an impact on people that we're doing business with, that we're working with, that we know personally. And so that's why I never say no immediately to a connection. I like to do a little research and a little engagement. I had somebody, you're everywhere. So I want to talk about your social media because you do it. There's not a social media platform, and kudos to you because you promoted like a champ. Thank you. Sometimes it's very hard to get people to understand the importance of that, not you. But how do you spread your time? How do you figure out how to be impactful and engaging and collaborative across all of those platforms?
Okay. It's a good question, and I think it all goes down to how much time you can invest into making an impact across them. Fortunately now, well, unfortunately what we're going through, but fortunately that's given me extra time to invest across these platforms. Yes, I'll still place 90% of my time across the LinkedIn platform. That's my platform of choice, Ted. But across those other ones, so Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, I will still place a little bit of time into those, having a look through that content, because it is different across each platform, particularly YouTube, where I have that 15, 20 minutes and I can digest some video content. It's all around seeing how much time I can put into that platform. And I always invest at least 2 hours every morning and 2 hours every evening. That's the minimum I will do. Wow. But that's not for everybody. I think people would have a look at seeing how you can plug personal branding or social media effectiveness into your current lifestyle. And that may only be 30 minutes every day. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But it's what you do with that 30 minutes that can make the difference. Are you just simply scrolling through like this, Ted, going, okay, I'm done, and a few likes here? Or are you actually creating some content, looking at the strategies on how to place them out, the timing to place them out, responding to those comments, engaging with others, all of that type of stuff? And how do you do that with the time without stressing yourself out about going, oh, I need to jump on LinkedIn today. Oh, I've done that. Now I've got to do Facebook quickly. Oh, I haven't gone on Twitter today. So if you remove all that anxiety and just have a calming effect going, I'm actually enjoying this. So when you reached out, Ted, and go, can you come on the show? I looked at them and I went, oh, that looks like fun. I want to do that. That's fun. That's it. It was plain and simple. And I wanted to do it. But hopefully that gives you a little bit of an insight.
And you know what? And I'm honored, by the way, that you said yes, because this is new for me to reach out. I'm reaching out of my, and I want to encourage other people to do this. I'm reaching out of my basic, what I felt is a very large database of real connections. And I'm reaching out to people that I find interesting, that look like they have a real platform, not in my normal realm of social media. And what I'm finding is that amazing people like you coming on the show and just being able to engage with someone that I don't have a past history with, that I don't have all of these business relationships with. And it's so important because I can learn from you, because there are none of those parameters there. And I don't know the whole thing about Dino in the past. I only know what Dino's doing now, what you're doing now. And there's a power in that, guys. I think that you need to stop reaching out to people in your industry that you think are going to get you that next sale. That is not the way to build a relationship, especially across social media. I look for people that fascinate me, that I think have a great platform. And that's not for everybody, but for me, I don't want to have 9,000 people just in my industry, and that's all I ever talk to.
And it's well said, Ted, in regards to how you mentioned around building those new relationships. That's exactly how you do it across these platforms and online. And I think you hit the nail on the head, so I'm not even going to add anything further.
That's a rarity, Dino, right there, I can tell you. So tell me when you're looking for a connection, because I think people, again, I feel like people are really hungry right now. They are feeling like this is a time for them. If they haven't already, you still have time to do something new, to go on a new trend, to maybe build a new business, to look at that side hustle, to really kind of expand your growth. If somebody said, or expand your business and grow, if somebody said, all right, I'm fascinated, let's take LinkedIn. What would be one or two things that you would say that maybe they could do specifically on that platform? Instead of spending time across all the platforms, I think LinkedIn is one that people miss, and I think it has an amazing amount of opportunities in it. What would you do?
I'm doing this currently, okay? And you might have seen a post last week. So I've started collaborating with a few people where, like you said, Ted, previously I hadn't had a relationship with, and asking, hey, can we do something together? Or vice versa, that's coming also my way. And I think having that extra time and wanting to build some side hustles, some extra projects, now is a perfect time to do that. And whether you're repurposing your brand or repurposing the business or looking to expand to a next level, why don't you ask people where you haven't done business before? Because most of the time, as you said, Ted, they're hungry to do it now. Yeah. So I'm glad I did an ebook on personal branding that's coming out in a couple of weeks with a friend now, Nero, who's out of Colombo in Sri Lanka, where previously I have never written a book before, or I didn't have the time to do that. So why don't you place that extra time, even if it's an hour a day, into something that you've been wanting to do? And I'm sure anybody that runs a business has been wanting to expand, sure, wanting to make extra revenue, wanting to promote the business.
Right.
Any business is in there, right? So even why don't you go out and collaborate with people that don't have to be in your industry, but ask them to come on, like a show like we're doing today, or ask them to give you some feedback on a product or service that you've been wanting to distribute out to the marketplace, and yes, do things where potentially six months ago you didn't have that time because you were constantly running 12, 13 hours a day. So, and
there's opportunity, like you said. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Opportunity, like you said. And so talk about I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about your project, your book.
Yeah, so this is really exciting. As I've mentioned, it's the first time I've ever put words on a paper to actually be published, and it's coming out as an ebook. Should be out in the next 10 to 14 days. It's going to be on Amazon Books to start off with, and it's all around how do you build your brand, how do you double your value across social media when it comes to your brand. And the beauty of this book is, yes, it has tips and suggestions on how to do that, but there are blank pages with roadmaps, aims, objectives on that. So once you're actually reading it, you can physically print off that page and write your objectives and what you want to achieve from your brand, your strategies, your content creation abilities, and all of that, and grow it and keep some real analytics when it comes to your brand. So it's a real hands-on book, which I like. You don't have to print off all 61 pages. It's what it's about. But there's probably 4 to 5 pages where you can print off and physically write down what you want to achieve through the suggestions of the book. And it's not an expensive book, so it's not going to cost $99. I always feel everybody should have the opportunity to build a strong brand and a credible brand at that. So that was the mindset with myself and Nero to go, we need to have this available to as many people as possible.
And when will the link be able to go up where people can go and purchase the book?
Should be within the next 2 weeks, Ted.
Okay,
and
good,
I'll share that across, and I'll put that on my featured section on LinkedIn and plaster that all across social. And
of course, good. Yes, well, that's where I'll certainly pick it up. All right, I have to ask you, was that cathartic writing a book? I've always wanted to write a book, and I feel like it would be hard for me to get on paper my words and thoughts. Maybe that's because I'm crazy, but I feel like there would also be some sort of cathartic experience there, being able to finally birth this thing that's been on my brain or in my mind.
Yeah, it has been, and it was an enjoyable experience because I think a lot of that content I had, or I've written in the past or put into video. So it was all about how do I put that pen to paper, and I was thinking, try and not get it to the perfection stage. Because we've got an editor that will go through that. So even if my grammar isn't the best that it should be, and it's not always the case, I just wanted to I was reading it and go, is somebody going to get something out of that page, and spending 60 seconds reading that? And if the answer was yes, then I sent it off. And I continued doing that. But it was fun from an aspect because I enjoy doing this. And I love doing this. And I hope I come across that and it's real. So I think when you're writing that book around your passions, it becomes quite easy and enjoyable. And that was the beauty of it.
That's awesome. I think it's amazing when you can when you can write down what your thought, and you're willing to share those thoughts. I think the collaborative spirit that you put out there, obviously, yeah, that's amazing, because a lot of people like to hold on. Oh my God, I can't let go of my ideas because that's going to make somehow me less attractive or less of a business person. And then that is just so far from the truth, the furthest thing. I think collaboration, that's a whole bunch of sharing is what it boils down to. So, all right. So I ask this of every guest before we head out. What have you personally done, just Dino, not business, not social media? What have you done to stay focused, to stay positive, to stay creative personally during the quarantine?
Oh, that's a tough question, because I've been doing a lot of things. I'm trying to not put that on a social media or a business aspect. I would hate to say that I've been trying to work on my fitness, Ted, because going for a walk 3 or 4 times a week is not probably
that's more than I do, my friend. So good for you.
it needs to be more productive. I was playing tennis a little bit. We do have a park with a few tennis courts down the road from where I live in Brisbane. That started off, but again, like everything, unfortunately, it didn't become a habit. and I went back into my comfort zone and went, social media, let's build relationships.
See, this is authenticity and vulnerability right here. That's what I love.
I would mention. Sorry, go ahead.
No, please go ahead. You.
I would love to say, listen, I went back into my healthy lifestyle and healthy eating, and I didn't go into the snack cupboard at 3 o'clock every day, but I would be lying, Ted, because those snacks, those candies, I've got a sweet tooth. I've got to stop it.
I get it, my friend. Yeah, somebody was talking about Peloton earlier, and I just smiled.
Wow.
I mean, jeez. All right. So, what's the best way for I have loved this. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you? What's the easiest way for them to reach out to you or follow you, wherever the best way that is?
Yeah. So, as we mentioned off the platforms before, so LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, you can do all of those. All of those should have either the messaging feature, or on LinkedIn, there's my email address, which is a public email. So you don't need to be a first degree connection to see my email. You're more than welcome to reach out. Obviously, if it's to get to know me, to let's talk about a new relationship, you'll always get a response. If you're probably selling me something on the first stage, potentially not, because there's hundreds of those that come through every day.
Every day.
Yeah. So that's if you're wanting to reach out and become part of that community, and let's do it the right way, and emails or send me a connection request, and you'll at least get a response that way, and that'll open up the messaging section on LinkedIn without even being a first degree connection.
Perfect. All right. And Charlotte, I see you asked the question, and both Dino and I will answer that. It came in on Facebook, so we will reach out to you. Same to you, Shirley. Thank you so much for getting up early. It's Tuesday. What is the day? Yeah, it's Tuesday in Brisbane, Australia. So I'm just very thankful that you were open to allowing me to reach out and coming on the show. And that just shows a lot about you, that you really walk the walk and talk the talk with the authenticity and vulnerability. I appreciate that very much. So we're gonna continue to follow you, Dino Pacella, and we're gonna look for the book. And as soon as it comes out, tag me, and I will share it with everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out for the audience and for me. I really, really appreciate it.
So it's been an absolute pleasure. I'd be remiss of me if I don't say I absolutely love the shirt. It does wonders with that blue jacket. So thank you.
Thank you.
I love the look, and I love the background on the pull-up banners around choosing freedom.
Thank you.
That says wonders. But thank you so much for having me on the show, Ted. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Me too. Thank you so much. All right, Dino Pacella, guys, reach out to him. And if you can't find him, I've tagged him everywhere, but reach out to me and I'll get you to him. All right, y'all have a good night. You have a great morning, my friend. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys.